Coming up on today's episode, Mr. Heron's picked the parts for his home theater PC. We got the cheapest way to record over the air HD, Blu-ray for $60, and of course the new Blu-ray releases for the week of February 2nd, 2010. This is HD Nation.
HD Nation.
Today's episode is brought to you by GoDaddy, Netflix, and Squarespace.
Welcome to HD Nation. I'm Robert Heron.
And I'm Patrick Norton. HD Nation is your guide to the best in HD content and the best in home theater gear, no matter what your budget is. Blu-ray, online, satellite, cable, if it is in HD, we like it. So, I'm trying to decide, should we talk about Super Bowl bargains or should we talk about your exciting new, can we open this?
Of course we can. My beautiful new Emerson $10 universal remote control.
You've been shopping in Walgreens again?
CVS, baby. They took over the whole West Coast apparently, and I don't know. I saw the giant remote control with universal functionality.
And you thought of me in my blindness.
I saw the $10 price tag, and I'm like, you know what? How can you really go wrong? So
it is technically a universal remote control.
It's giant.
TV, DVD, VCR, cable, control multiple components with a single. It is a real product.
Oh yes.
So are you going to give us a full review of this?
No. I will tell you though, if you like, I will. Sure, I will. It's a remote. It's the size and the buttons, and it's got that cool factor.
Now, obviously, this is probably towards the visually challenged, many of the seniors in the audience, the terminally hungover. It might be useful for
just people who want a giant remote. I think it's good for many people.
I'm tempted to give this to Seamus and see what happens.
It's $10. You can't
Two-year-old,
really
yeah, two-year-old toddler versus gigantic remote control.
That's not a bad thing, really. If I had a very expensive, or I had a new HDTV, say, with a premium remote control, maybe one of the flagship models that are coming up. You know, those remotes are very nice and very costly. So yes, you love the fresh.
I love the smell of long monopolymers in the morning.
Yes, you got to be careful with that. But you'd think though, you know what? If I had kids, I would be tempted to hand them something like that, where it's, you know, if they snap it, break it, sit on it, crush it, whatever. I'd be less offended if it goes the way the
crushed
dinosaur.
Your $400.
Yes, a $10 remote's easy to replace comparatively. And you know what? It's the novelty factor. It's giant, and it's quite.
It's not just a remote; it's a conversation starter and hours of fun for you and your friends. Oh my goodness! So Super Bowl's like, I don't know, probably a week and a half out by the time you're seeing this. And if you've been thinking about buying a new HDTV just for the Super Bowl, it's probably time to get serious. The deals have started in the weekend flyers already, and there's just a few days. When you see this, there's a few days left. There's a window when the online retailers can still guarantee that your TV will arrive in time to watch the Super Bowl. Just watch yourself on the bundle. Sometimes those deals are kind of pathetic. In fact, sometimes those deals aren't deals.
Not at all. I mean, honestly, you should be aware of what the pricing is currently. Yeah. Go to your favorite online retailers and check out what they're selling things for. Factor in things like tax and shipping charges, and then compare it to what you can get for locally. And don't feel that just because it's a big event, big sporting event coming up with sales being timed with that you're somehow going to get a big deal. Are you going to get a good deal automatically? It might not be the case. You might be better off just going online and shopping and have it shipped right to your house.
I'm still a Costco kind of guy.
Oh, that's a great place to go. I'm going for the full projector setup this year. We're gonna have a TV going, 1080p flat panel, but we've got a separate projector that'll be running 1080p onto a screen that we'll also have the Wii hooked up to, so we can do our Wii Sports.
I should point out
for halftime activities.
I should point out that we actually you don't want to watch like the dancing whatever it is going to be on the
who?
Yeah, the spectacular costume failures up next. What a horrifying thought.
Okay, if that's
especially in HD,
I'll have it blown up to huge pixels.
I just don't even want to go there. We actually have our first projector review coming up. You're going to see that in the next couple of weeks. The unit is in the mail on its way to us. And I got to say, if you're giddy waiting for 3D HDTVs to show up, Samsung, aka the largest maker of LCD TV displays by volume, which is a really weird way to sort of label yourself. They fired out a press release this week to tell us that they would be the first to fire up the assembly lines for mass production of panels for 3D displays. They're going for 40, 46, and 55-inch panels for full HD 3D using 3D active glasses. And did they mention like when those would actually be coming out, when you can get your goggle vision on?
Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Not yet.
We're starting to build them. They'll be for sale. Sometime.
Summertime. Late summer, I'm
late
guessing.
summer?
Yeah.
So just in time.
Right. For back to school.
So we'll probably have 3D HDTV in time. No, I guess the Olympics are.
We're doomed either way.
Oh, well. I'm not sure why anybody in HD Nation would be giddy about Apple's new iPad, though I did touch one this morning. It was very nice. It was very tactile. It was soothing. It was expensive, and there's no GPS in the version I want to buy that's cheap. I don't know why they went SD on the aspect ratio instead of 16:9 on the screen. It does 720p letterboxed or scaled. No HDMI output, but I think it could make a very nice remote control for all your other devices if somebody built some kind of, Wi-Fi to Blu-ray IR blaster. You're not buying into this at all.
Not at all.
Yeah, well, the real problem is that it will only, just like an iPhone, it will only run a single application at a time, so you'd have to relaunch the remote every time you skipped off to IMDb or Wikipedia, so it's still essentially the toilet reading PC.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you need that?
Yeah. Well, it would be nice to have IMDb available on the table. So in that sense, it's like your IMDb lookup computer while you're using your Harmony or whatever universal remote. Okay. Like the Emerson.
Just trying to stretch for you. $10 versus what? What's the cost of the iPad?
Starts at $499 with Wi-Fi, and they're actually very similar in size.
Oh, with Wi-Fi, but
with
no 3G.
Wi-Fi, no 3G.
Ah, gotcha.
All right, so you're still watching Lost, episode 17 or something by now?
I went on a binge. Netflix video streaming, I have to admit, is a great way to watch television shows, especially episodic shows. So you missed a season or two, or all 5 in this case for Lost. I started with season 1 and just plowed through them. It's in beautiful streaming HD through my PlayStation 3 using that disc we showed off a couple shows back.
Are you used to that?
I am. Oh, you know what? You don't even know
the disc.
The disc just sits in there. I don't even take the disc out unless I'm.
Because you don't play games anymore on the PS3.
Well, when I finish them, then I take them out. Yes, I do, actually. Uncharted 2, great game, great high def, great audio, awesome 5.1 surround sound. Anyway. Lost, though, is streamed in HD over Netflix Instant Streaming, and the PS3 handles that just like a charm. Compared directly opposite of that is my TiVo Series 3, which is a high-def box that also has Netflix that refuses to do any high-def Netflix streaming whatsoever. And I have yet to talk to anybody, including everyone in our audience who wrote in. Nobody has told me that they've actually had that successfully work. Huh. They get the standard def stream just fine. Right. It's just the TiVo chokes on the high-def stuff, and I'm done with that as a high-def player, as far as that goes. Streaming. But anyway, all 5 seasons, I wish I should go back and see when I started and when I finished. It was a ridiculously short amount of time because there's no commercials. As soon as one episode's done, it pops up, would you like to go on to the next episode?
Yes.
Next thing I know, season 1's down, and I think I did season 1 in 2 days.
I was going to say, that's where you were all weekend.
Dude,
you want to go to the range? Can't.
Coming back from CES, it was, I'm sitting in the airport catching up on 2 more episodes with the free Wi-Fi service they have in McCarran Airport, and it was just, it was bad, man. It was really bad. And now, you know what? Now that the show is coming up, the season 6 is coming up in February, I'm going to ignore it and just wait for it to appear on Netflix because I'm just so spoiled by...
Just what the network wants to hear.
I know. It's terrible. I'll probably DVR it, but I'm not sitting there and watching it live anymore. I'm done with live.
I got $20 that says he has a panic attack and starts watching the entire thing, starting with the first week.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm good at hoarding.
I was watching yeah, you are good at hoarding. It's a really scary thing to talk about with a camera rolling. I was watching Watchmen the other night.
Hey, I got that on Blu-ray.
Gorgeous.
Is it?
Even the umpteenth time around. If you haven't really watched it yet, have you?
It's been sitting on my coffee table for 2 weeks.
Go home, ignore Lost, put that in, turn the volume up, watch. It's flat out. It is gorgeous cinematography. It is gorgeous, 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 gorgeous CG, and it's your basic 235 to 1 movie. It's standard CinemaScope. So black bars top and bottom. We were talking about aspect ratios. So I realized I'm actually starting to really warm to the idea of that 21 to 9 HDTV that Vizio was talking about, which is essentially 235 to 1. So I'm already done with 3D. I want to know what Vizio's cinema-wide display is going to price out at this summer. Big, wide. It'd be like my own personal gigantic theater screen.
I'll guess $3,500.
Maybe.
Because that's about the price of their 72-inch 16:9 screen, and I guess the 58-inch 21:9 is physically, or by area, is a little bit smaller. It's a tough call, but I'm only under $4,000 for sure. I'm hoping they'll have it $3,500, maybe even under $3,000. That would be, ooh, yes.
Hey, if you want more on aspect ratios, even more than we got into the other week, check out the genius it is Film Riot episode 36, where they talk aspect ratios, human bananas, Star Wars makeup, and people shoot each other. It's really cool. Coming up a little later in the show, Mr. Heron's pretty much, well, his credit card is starting to vibrate. He thinks he has the parts picked out for his home theater PC. Right now, though, I want to thank Netflix. They're one of our sponsors. They help us bring the show to you, and they are a great place to get Blu-ray discs. They also do that whole streaming thing Mr. Heron was talking about. Netflix, it's simple. They got like 90,000 titles online. You pick a title, they send it to your house, you send it back. You don't pay for shipping either way. And unlike my neighborhood, where there is almost no place to actually rent DVDs, at least in English, you can get Blu-rays, pretty much all the new stuff. I like it, it's simple, and deliveries happen as little as a single business day, which is pretty sweet. Plans start at $4.99. That's when you get the DVDs. Add a little bit more, you get Blu-rays. As a new member, like you want to help us out? Try out the no-risk 2-week free trial membership. You can find it at www.netflix.com/HDNation. And remember to type in that www. I know it's annoying, it's old school, but that'll bring up the HD Nation thing. We get credit, and we can keep bringing the show to you. Check it out. Tommy writes in, I have asked 2 times for y'all to tell me how I can do something to record shows over the air, not cable, not satellite, any of that stuff. Please, is there anything I can use without using my computer as a DVR and where I can buy one? Do not know if y'all are scared to talk about poor people who use over the air to do their shows. What's up with that? You do over the air. Roger does over the air. We've reviewed over the air tuners. We've talked about recording over the air. We talked about over the air actually being one of the best sources of video. It's like over the air versus Blu-ray. Probably the edge is Blu-ray.
Blu-ray's the gold standard.
Okay, Blu-ray's the gold standard.
Running about twice as much data per second as
over
any
the
other
air
format.
is the silver standard, and online is somewhere. What's lower than bronze? Yeah,
or cable or satellite.
Tommy, I apologize for not personally responding to your email. We get several hundred emails every day. I wish we could answer them all. We try, but unfortunately we can't. One of the things we have talked about in the past, antennaweb.org. It's a pretty good website that tells you what kind of over-the-air HDTV reception is available in your neighborhood. Basically, if you live in a canyon, it'll tell you, which channels you can actually get. If you live in the flats, you probably get a bunch of them, what kind of antenna you're going to need. And I really got to say, the main reason that we haven't answered your question is because you're not that into the simplest answer for it, which is using a PC. An over-the-air tuner with Windows Media Center, USB ones are available for about 80 bucks. If you got a PC with a DVI output, it is the cheapest way to record over-the-air HDTV. I think Mr. Heron is still furiously looking for a standalone box that will actually record over-the-air television that isn't a TiVo, because the basic standalone box you get today to record over-the-air in HD is a TiVo. 200 bucks refurbished, $250 new, and you need a service plan. So on top of the 200 bucks plus you're paying for the hardware, you've got a monthly fee of at least 13 bucks a month. Excuse me, $12.95 a month, which means you get to pay $12.95 a month for as long as you want to use the machine, which only holds 20 hours of HD broadcast. That's the real reason why PCs and DVRs is so cool, so you can just add more hard drive space and store more programming. Now, several years ago, there were some standalone DVRs, Sony's DHG HDD500, LG's LST-3410A, but I have not seen either for sale in a long time. Same for the old Arcos TV recording video players, which never worked that well in my personal experience. Set-top boxes like the Popcorn Hour C200 are really cool, but they're all about getting video from online. I have not seen much out there lately doing over-the-air broadcasts beyond TiVo and PC or Mac-based stuff. Elgato is the company that does it for OS X. But if we find it, we will pass it along to you. Mr. Heron, have you found anything?
Maybe.
Maybe.
The instant Google search just gave me Magnavox. They have a 160 gig hard disk recorder plus DVD, hard disk drive plus DVD recorder with a digital tuner. Now, the big question I have is, what's the hard drive for? Will it let me record that over the air?
Is it for recording
ATSC broadcast?
DVDs, or is it recording for over the air?
Yeah, what is it for, and what quality will I expect when I do the record? If I'm doing, say, a 1080i broadcast or a 720p HD broadcast from over the air using the box's digital tuner, will that dump that right to the hard drive and let me watch that at a later date? I would assume that's what it's doing, but I need to dig into that product a little bit more. So.
All right. Off to the Walmart in San Leandro.
And it's still for sale, so.
Which is a good thing.
Yes.
Because for a while there was a lot of people talking about over-the-air recorders, and then they all just kind of
There's the TiVo. And one trick, if you do know somebody with a TiVo with lifetime service, ask them to go online, and they can't, if you really are, your heart's set on getting that TiVo, but you don't want to pay that monthly fee, if they already have one with lifetime service, odds are they can get another one with lifetime service, usually at a good discount. So talk to your friends who have those TiVos, I say.
I don't know. Quick answer, I think it's recording. Nah, it couldn't be recording DVDs.
I'm at a mystery. It's like,
all
okay.
right. We're going to find one for you, Tommy.
I want the Magnavox product now. All made by Funai anyway, so. Talk to Funai.
On that bright and cheerful note, it's time for the Blu-ray releases for the week of February 2nd, 2010. First up, Terry Gilliam's magnificent Festival for the Eye, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Johnny Depp's brilliant or overly dramatic portrayal of Hunter S. Thompson. I can sense an argument between Seraphine and I talking about that. It is visually gorgeous. It's been out on HD DVD for a while, but of course, who's got an HD DVD player anymore except for Roger? Also released this week, The Godfathers Parts 1 and 2. Yes! Previously only available as a 3-movie set with the, oh my god, it sucked, Godfather Part 3. You can now get the first and second movies individually. Both have a delightful 1080p AVC MPEG-4 codec. It is visually stunning and a Dolby True HD 5.1 mix. So if you're looking to get your Corleone fix in the best possible quality, this is probably your answer, because no third film. That rocks! Next up, we have one of Roger Chang's favorite movies of last year, one I've been desperate to see ever since I literally stumbled across the trailer and freaked out and twittered it to everyone I know. Zombieland. Woody Harrelson and his cohorts trying to survive in a zombie-filled world. It is a comedic twist on your typical zombie flick, and it is funny as delete expletive. 1080p AVC MPEG-4 codec, 5.1 DTS HD master audio mix. This movie is worth it just for, well, a certain star. I don't want to spoil anything, but there's a cameo in there that may make you weep. You're going to laugh so hard. Special features include how they manage the zombification of the landscape, as well as deleted scenes and interviews with the cast and crew. Nice setup on that one. Now, get ready to get your Johnny Cash on. Walk the Line is finally out on Blu-ray. If you're into Joaquin Phoenix and Reese Witherspoon doing their imitation of Johnny and June Cash, we're talking about a 5.1 DTS HD master audio mix, which should sound pretty awesome, and a lot of deleted scenes, making up featurettes, extended musical sequence. This one's ready for your high-def enjoyment if you're a Johnny Cash fan. If not, well, actually, it's pretty cool to watch the portrayals of some of the other originators of rock and roll. Now, if you're looking for some martial arts mania, check out Tony Jaa in Ong Bak, the Thai Warrior, also released this week as his sequel, Ong Bak 2, The Beginning. Other releases this week include 2009's Amelia with Hilary Swank starring as the famous aviatrix Amelia Earhart. Gorgeous movie, unbelievable costumes, horrible script. It was like, let's stitch together Amelia Earhart quotes and pretend it's a plot. Hellboy, Sword of Storm / Blood and Iron, The House of the Devil, New York, I Love You, The Last King of Scotland, amazing acting. To Live and Die in LA, amazing acting and oh so 80s. Love Happens, Made in Manhattan, Mona Lisa Smile, Mystic River, amazing acting, directing, and cinematography. The Music Man, Planet Hulk, Triangle, Universal Soldier, Regeneration, and hey, that's it. Coming up next, a $60, well, it's a Blu-ray drive, people. Mr. Heron's home theater PC parts pick list, and a couple of your suggestions for pre-built PCs we should check out. Thinking about building a new website? Maybe looking for a better way to host the website you already have? You should definitely check out Squarespace. Squarespace.com is the website. It's an all-in-one answer. Hosting, building, WYSIWYG, pretty much anything you can imagine, you can build with their tools. Even a moron like me that can barely function in most of the web tools out there. Pretty slick. They actually have import tools that allows you to bring your existing websites into place, and if you're always on the go, they have an iPhone application. Basically, it's a customized tool that gives you all of the information from the website, brings it onto your iPhone, makes it smooth and easy to manage. Upload pictures on the fly, save your drafts out. You can even view your site's statistics right there under the Stats tab, even recent refers, search queries, RSS subscribers, and more. Got more than one Squarespace account? No problem. You basically just go to the Accounts tab on your iPhone application, lets you manage content for all your websites. Save a draft post for one site, jump to another one to do something there, and best of all, we can score you a discount. Squarespace makes it easy to check it out, give it a trial, see if you like it. Then, if you do decide to sign up, and we think you will, you can get a 10% discount on the entire lifetime of your order. Not just this month, but every month going on into the future if you enter in the code HDNation when you check out. Doesn't happen immediately when you first check it out. It's a couple weeks later and they say, hey, do you want to buy Squarespace? Do me a favor, remember that code HDNation and check it out. It's a pretty cool tool up at squarespace.com.
Hey, we're continuing our home theater PC quest, and a lot of you wrote in and asked about Dell's Xeno HD. Now, it's the base version, runs about $250 and includes an AMD Athlon processor. The box itself is about 8 inches square, kind of compact. That includes an 8X optical drive, 250 gigabyte hard drive, ATI's Radeon HD 3200 graphics that offers enough oomph to do Blu-ray type H.264 decoding, and there's HDMI out. And for $30 more, you can go from Vista to Windows 7 Home Premium.
Which we definitely recommend, by the way. If you're looking for more graphics powers, ATI Radeon HD 4330 for another $75. And while you can get a Hop-Hog TV tuner bundled with it, you cannot get a Blu-ray drive from the factory. So if you want to get your Blu-ray on, you are spending some cash, cracking the box open, and putting it in yourself. It's a tempting media box, but you have heard...
The main complaint I hear about it is how loud the thing is. I mean, they say, well, if you just turn up your audio system enough, it'll all go away. But if you're one of those silent listeners or trying to preserve the silence of the room in any way, shape, or form, you'll probably notice how loud the fans are in this system.
That would be annoying.
That's no good.
Yeah, for home theater PC, the fan noise is unacceptable. We're talking to Dell, trying to get one in for evaluation. I want to basically play around with the HDMI audio options because the 3200, the ATI Radeon 3200, getting a little long in the tooth. Hopefully the drivers are nice and solid at this point. And I'd be curious to get inside of that and see how hard it would be to get a slim type Blu-ray drive in there.
Form factor looks good, and the optional color plates you can add to it for customization. That's kind of nice too.
You like color plates?
A little customization never hurts.
Oh, you know, you do that thing where you change all the curtains in the house, spring, summer, fall.
Gloss black, everything, or matte black, even better. There you go. Anyway, even more of you have been writing in about boxes built around the Atom processor. That's Intel's great low power, I guess low cost CPU. And Mark in Perth, Australia wrote in and said, hey, I love the show. I'm looking at building or buying a home theater PC, and have you considered the Acer Aspire Revo 3610 Ion 330?
That's a mouthful.
It really is. Acer Aspire Revo. I thought you may get a kick out of this review from a gentleman named Paul J. Roberts, and he does a pretty cool video review that includes some great clips of HD Nation. And
thanks, man.
I see a screenshot or two of us on his review. And I just want to say keep up the good work. And thank you to Mark in Perth of Western Australia.
Now, okay, the Atom's a cool processor. It's primarily found in netbooks, and a lot of people get really excited because they see their netbook. It's got an HDMI output, and they're like, "I'm going to use it to play video to my HD, you know, my high def screen." And the thing is the processor itself with the stock graphics is the video. It's not a HD box. DVD playback, if you attach an external DVD drive, sure, SD video, no problem. But like 720p, 1080p, H.264 tends to crush it. That's where the Ion comes in. Ion is NVIDIA's chipset that basically offloads the graphics processing and the decoding of your compressed video. So basically there's a little bit of processor usage by the CPU, but the graphics chipset is doing most of the work.
Totally. And last week they just released official drivers finally that support the 10.1 version of Adobe Flash that includes, I guess it's the beta technically, that supports H.264 decoding within Flash. So your files and sites like Hulu, and I guess it would be YouTube as well, you'll be able to get full decoding support for those type of video files that normally would take that Atom processor and run it up to 90 or 100%.
I've seen Flash run a Core 2 Duo up to 90 or 100% because Flash video, as we know it right now, does not take advantage of any of the acceleration or offloading or whatever you want to call the oomph that comes from a GPU that does, you know, H.264 and some of the other stuff. So the Flash actually being hardware accelerated is a big deal for Atom and other processors. So, I mean, we're going to get into your parts list in a couple minutes, but you're pretty sold on the Atom. Is it because of the power consumption, the noise level? Atom with Ion. Yeah. Atom with Ion.
That is like the marriage made in heaven, I guess you could say, or wherever. But but the other thing, it's odd because it's not. I guess it's odd because there's not a really good relationship between NVIDIA and Intel.
Right.
But here we have these, not third-party companies, but companies, a lot of companies probably not heard of. They're not household names.
Right.
Building these motherboards and products that incorporate these two chips.
Well, Asus is a pretty household name.
That's true.
At least if you're a geek.
And they do sell one motherboard currently, and then I'm pretty sure ASRock, one of the home theater PCs that are out there right now based on that platform, is also based on Asus's hardware as well.
So what are you thinking? Do you think it's a better deal to build it yourself or to buy sort of a pre-assembled box?
Depends what you need. The single most expensive part I'm finding is really, or one of them, is the Blu-ray drive. Now, for the smallest system you can build, you want a slim Blu-ray drive, and those typically run about $170 currently. And that's not a cheap addition. If you can skip that drive, say you don't need it, don't want it, could care less about DVD or Blu-ray playback, if you can lose that, the costs then become pretty darn affordable, in the $330 to about $370 range for a pre-built box that includes the OS, some kind of wireless remote technology, and HDMI out, media card readers, and things like that.
Yeah, to put that in perspective, right, this is what he's talking about, slimliner. Basically, if you look at the sort of sliding tray on the side of a notebook, that's a slim design DVD drive or Blu-ray drive. This is your standard 5¼ Blu-ray drive. For as little as $60, if you shop online, you can pick up something like this. It's Lite-On's IHOS 104. This is the cheapest Blu-ray drive we've seen anywhere. $60. It actually does a pretty solid job. The bundled CyberLink Power DVD BD solution software, which is anything with a solution in the product name, is probably dangerous. I hope I didn't misquote them on that one. Isn't my favorite, but the truth is the bundled software on these is generally crippleware. It's cheap. Jennifer S. wrote in and she's part of the nation like you. She was freaking out because she bought the drive and found the software was crippled and only did analog stereo out and refused to run DTS or Dolby Digital through her Asus Zonar D2. I'm not entirely sure if that was like a software driver issue with the card or if it was the drive here, but you know what I'm saying is you may be spending another $60 to get some decent Blu-ray playback software. Right now, our pick is ArcSoft's Total Media Theater 3 Gold, or I should say my pick is Total Media Theater 3 Gold. $60 now, which is good because you used to have to spend like at least $100 to get any kind of Blu-ray playback. It's pretty cheap. It's $60 for Blu-ray playback, so you're looking at about $120 for a drive and software if you are not satisfied with the software that's bundled with the drive. And hopefully you've got an HDCP-compatible GPU and it's new enough to support passing audio over HDMI and offloading the video processing, or you're going to have your processor, your CPU is going to be cranked up and you're going to have to be running around with like an SD cable or analog outputs from your computer to your HDTV to get all of your Blu-ray goodness.
I mean, I would love to have a home theater PC running like the latest i7 Intel processor, the latest AMD processor, with incredible performance, but I'm trying to keep this as low wattage and low noise and small as physically possible.
Well, you've got a PS3 for gaming.
I've got that, and I've got my PC I game with, and you know, I have a standalone Blu-ray player, so I'm really looking at this project in terms of what if I didn't have the Blu-ray player? What if I would have had like an old DVD player, but I do have a new HDTV, and I want to build a box that lets me do all my web stuff with a real browser, a real operating system, and even if I don't want to go Windows, there are options around that, and good options actually that cost you nothing to try. So,
is it safe to put a dividing line like, you know, building a Blu-ray home theater PC is great, but if you want the cheapest way to get Blu-rays, just buy a standalone Blu-ray player?
Yes. Well, if you could use a $60 drive like that in a system, you know, you can get a pretty cheap Blu-ray player out of that, and odds are you'll be able to software upgrade that system for the lifetime of Blu-ray technology. Whereas I've seen some of the cheapest Blu-ray, standalone Blu-ray players out there.
The Walmart.
I don't expect them to ever be updated, and you'll eventually run across discs that just simply won't play back.
Right.
And that's where suddenly that great value initially becomes less and less of a value over time.
When you're buying a second Blu-ray player.
Why doesn't the disc play? I don't want to answer that question ever. Just let it update, let it fix it, and go.
Unless there's no way to update it or fix it.
And one of the beauties of the PS3, and I'm not promoting that as the be-all end-all Blu-ray players, but it seems to support every darn feature of the spec, and to do so before most other players out there. So,
we come back, we're going to spec out Roberto's home theater PC build. He's got some happy, quiet, silent, power-sipping parts. Right now, though, we got to thank one of our sponsors, GoDaddy.com.
Get reliable, secure web hosting without the long-term contract. GoDaddy's hosting plans are bigger and better than ever with 99% uptime, free 24/7 support, and no annual commitment. GoDaddy.com offers private domain registration so your name, address, and phone number aren't exposed for the whole world to see. Plus, use the code HDN8 to get 10% off your whole order. And if that doesn't work for you, you can check out all the HD Nation GoDaddy deals and codes at revision3.com/GoDaddy. Please support us by supporting our sponsors like GoDaddy.com.
Robert's ready to make the jump, start ordering parts for his home theater PC. I was going to say, what are you gunning for? But Intel Atom NVIDIA Ion motherboard.
Definitely. Low power, quiet, goals of the system I want to build are those two top and foremost. It has to be a real computer to be able to run an operating system that can give me a real browser so I can do things like Hulu, also technically Netflix you can do several different ways, but other sites too that require a browser only, like SouthParkStudios.com. Flash-based video really requires a browser, so I have to have a real computer. Now, building your own is great and all, but if you don't want to go that route, there are a couple of brand new systems out that incorporate the Atom Ion technology into ultra-compact designs that are arguably the most affordable way of going about this. One, a company called Acer has the Aspire Revo 3610, and very similar design and functionality is the Asus eBox PC EB1012. Now, the main drawback of both of these boxes, they don't offer an optical drive. And if you want to have like a DVD player built into it or a Blu-ray player built into it, you'll have to do it externally. and I'm not a big fan of external anything. I'd rather have it all integrated. So if you can get away with not having that, you just want the strict PC functionality, boom. This is something to really consider. The price is really good. The benefits, like we mentioned, small. They're about an inch, little over an inch thick, 1.1 inches thick, roughly about 8 inches square. And media card readers are built in, so if you have your digital camera or whatever you have on those digital cameras, it could be movie files or whatever, plug it right in, you're good to go. They also preload Windows 7. That's a big deal because that can be an extra $100 if you have to buy an OEM version of that. And
these boxes are selling for like $300, $350.
330, like you said, up to about 380, depending on which box you get. Hard drive space is a little limited in terms of 160 gigs. You could probably upgrade that yourself down the road, but that'll mean cracking it open and maybe voiding a warranty.
And it's a 2.5-inch drive, so you're talking about probably a 500 gigabyte max for the foreseeable future.
Exactly, exactly. Now on the DIY front, because I'm just that way, I've narrowed down the parts list to the following. We're going to go with Zotac Ion ITX D-E Mobo.
Not the Asus.
No, Asus has a similar motherboard with built-in wireless and things I like. But it turns out that they're using a 6,000 RPM fan, and in the reviews I saw, that was the most noticeable complaint everyone had. Everyone just said it's noisy.
It's a dog whistle.
To Asus's credit, they went back and said, you know what, we're going to redesign that fan design. I believe they cut the speed in half, but going from 6,000 to 3,000 RPM still doesn't sound like it's going to cut the noise as much as I would like. So I'm a little hesitant to go that route. The board I'm looking at right now actually doesn't have a fan on it. It comes with an optional fan I can add, and I'm hoping just the case cooling will take care of that. Anyway, I'm going with 4 gigs of DDR2 800 because that's what the motherboard supports. I need 2 sticks. Now I could just go 2 gigs, 1 gig sticks, 2 of those.
Because that should be more than enough.
It should be. I'm probably doing overkill here with 4 gigs, but it will be a 64-bit OS. Ooh, 64-bit. 500 gigabyte, 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. I found that for under $90 online. Now, arguably one of the most expensive components is LG's Slim SATA Blu-ray combo drive, about $170, I believe, online. And if I could do away with that, I would literally chop about $170 off the price of this whole system. Wi-Fi support's built into the motherboard. Bluetooth I'm adding via USB dongle, a tiny little thing. I think you'll get a kick out of how small it is. And the OS choice, like I said, I have a copy of Windows 7, so I'm going to have that on there. But the other good option would be XMBC, the Xbox Media Center, based on Ubuntu, which is all free, and it comes on a loader disc, what they call a live CD that I can just drop right in, and it's already optimized for Atom Ion.
But there's no Blu-ray playback with that.
Oh, good.
That would be a good operating system if you're doing one of the other systems.
If I'd skip the LG Blu-ray drive and I just went with a straight DVD slim drive, that would be a good option for that. Something to keep in mind, though.
The part that caused you the most pain and suffering, finding a case.
Yeah.
You were like, this is awful, this sucks, this is ridiculous. They want what for this?
Or it's expensive or they're too big. And so this is a mini ITX. This is another thing that confuses me. Mini ITX is smaller than micro. Give me this. Anyway, the case was tough. I had to have media card readers in it. I wanted to be able to pull, cards out of a digital camera, a camcorder, whatever. I want that right on the front so I don't have to mess around. The other thing too, compact. It shouldn't be much bigger than the motherboard. And we're talking about an 8-inch square motherboard. I didn't want it to go much bigger than that. And I needed something that included the power supply because the board I picked doesn't have the power supply built into it or anything like that.
A lot of the Atom Ion boards actually have a little, barrel plug on the back and use a wall wart to power them.
About a 19-watt power supply or something along those lines. Anyway, that's really what I picked. Now, I will say that I did find a beautiful Silverstone all aluminum ITX case, mini ITX case. That is tempting me, but it is $120, and that would significantly raise the the overall cost of the whole system, which right now, as it stands from the parts I just listed, I'm looking at about $585. And that includes me already having an operating system. So this is not a cheap build.
It's a $700 system. And well, almost $200 of that is going to be your Blu-ray drive.
Totally. And I could shave maybe $25 off if I go with just 2 gigs of RAM instead of 4.
Right.
But I am running a 64-bit operating system, so I'm just like, you know what, just put 4 in there, and then I'm not going to worry about it anymore.
So you've given up on one of the ideas we had, which was basically grabbing an old DVD player or VCR and basically crafting a faceplate for it and turning this into a home theater component, like an actual stereo component-sized box.
To me, that's the best solution. I would love somebody to do that. Finding time, I guess, is the big thing. We have a wonderful workshop here where I probably could do the hack pretty simply, but ideally, what shocks me the most is that no manufacturer of cases is making a PC or a mini ITX or whatever case that's shaped like, you know, a modern Blu-ray player, you know, about 17 inches wide and anywhere from 8 to 10 inches deep. And, you know, 2 inches thick is all you would need.
That would be your perfect case, something that would stack up on top of your receiver, your Blu-ray player.
You could then use the Zotac board with the built-in power supply and have that just right at the back. And that could be an ideal solution, and I'm just shocked. I think somebody's going to steal my idea and just do it. Or I'm going to drag Pat back into the crafting room and get busy with the Dremel.
Where's the milling machine?
I think this would be a doable hack. And actually, if I was a little more crafty, and I would go that route.
We'll hit the Goodwill. We'll look for a DVD chassis to Savage. Hey, look, we got to run, but I got to ask you, if you haven't checked it out, Anime TV, if you're into anime, if you're an anime fan, this is good stuff. It's your weekly guide to what's hot in Japanese pop culture, anime movie reviews, manga updates, game releases, cosplay, and everything under the rising sun. It is, I quote, all the things your little otaku heart could desire. Check it all out at revision3.com/animetv.
Hey, we hope you guys enjoyed this episode of HD Nation. As always, we want to know what you think, so send your comments, questions, or suggestions to hdnation@revision3.com.
Or hang out with the other viewers in the HD Nation forums, revision3.com/forum. And you can find links galore in the show notes at hdnation.tv.
Hey, that's right. You'll also find all the links to subscribe to the show. So if you're not getting the latest episode of HD Nation delivered to your door, what are you waiting for?
That's right. Subscribe and watch, and do us a favor, tell your friends.
Hey, thanks for watching. I'm Robert Heron.
I'm Patrick Norton. We'll see you next week on HD Nation.